Hey everybody, my name is Leanne. I'm with Jamberry up here in Northern Ontario, Canada. I've been with Jamberry for about 5 months, and in that time I've learned some really great tips and tricks that will help you love your Jamberries even more. Now, the most popular questions I get are, number 1, what's Jamberry? Number 2, is it easy to put them on? Is it easy to take them off? Are they expensive? And is it something that's for me? Well, the answer to all of those questions is coming right up. First, I want to show you a little bit about how to remove Jamberries. The difference between loving your Jamberries and thinking they're not so great often can be in application and removal processes. So I've had these Jamberries on for about 10 days now. They are called Off the Chain, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see what they look like after 10 days. You'll see a little bit of fraying. I've been baking all morning, but I think you can see it pretty good right there. That's about 10 days worth of Jamberry wear. They don't look much different than they did the first day I put them on, and they have stayed on quite well despite me being super hard on my nails, which means the adhesive has stuck quite well. Now I'm going to show you how to take them off. There are a couple different ways. If you've had your Jamberries on only for a day or two, you can just simply try to lift one of the corners, grab some tweezers, and pull them off. If they've been on longer than that, the adhesive is glued really well to your nail surface, so you're going to want to take some precautions to make sure that your nail isn't damaged. What I prefer to do, I have two favorite methods. One is warming up some coconut oil. You can use olive oil, vegetable oil, any kind of oil that you find at all. Warm it up, make sure it's not too hot. Soak your nails in there a little bit to get them warmed up, and then I like to use tweezers or a nail, just to show you how easy this is, and lift off one of the corners. Pick any corner that you'd like, soak it back in that oil, and then rub it like this. Very, very slowly. Don't rip off the whole thing, just rip off a little tiny piece. And I'm going to zoom in quite a bit so you can see how I'm doing this. And you'll see how using the oil not only helps get the adhesive off rather quickly, but you kind of sort of get a nail treatment in at the same time. So you see my nail is kind of really greasy right there. I'm going to dip it in and see that little corner that's lifted off like that. I'm going to use the tweezer, and I'm just going to pull a little tiny bit, not too much, because I don't want to pull off the surface of the nail. And as my fingernail is oily, I'm just going to keep rubbing like this, and you'll see it comes off a little bit at a time. And then we can pull a little bit with the tweezers. We can soak it back in there, get some more oil, and keep rubbing like this. Pull off a little tiny bit at a time. Rub that oil in there well. Give your nail bed that treatment, and voila, it's off easy peasy. You'll see that there's no damage to my nail, and again, as mentioned, the cuticles are nice and soft, so they're going to be ready for the next Jamberry application, which will be happening as soon as I'm done taking off these 3. Now, I showed you how I prefer to remove my Jamberries using warmed up coconut oil. 2 other ways that you can do it. If you really want a completely organic experience, you can just warm up some water, throw in a lemon slice in that bowl. Make sure it's warm enough, not too hot to burn you, but as warm as you can stand it. Soak your nail in there for about 5-10 minutes per nail, or if you can get a bucket big enough, soak your whole hand in there, and then gently, same process as I used with the oil, but using only that lemon and warm water, and then you have a completely chemical free removal process. But the coconut oil, as mentioned, is super healthy for you, and it gives you that nice little treatment, and it is completely natural. And you can get a lifetime supply of coconut oil from Costco for about 20 bucks. The other method is the alcohol swab, or using alcohol yourself, any type of alcohol on a cotton ball. I buy these little swabs at the dollar store. They get a package or a box for about 2 bucks for 200 of them, or of course you can buy it in the bottle with some cotton balls. Now again, same method with peeling off a little tiny corner of your Jamberry, whichever corner seems to want to lift the easiest. And then you'll take your cotton swab and you'll rub it just like I was rubbing my hand with the coconut oil. The alcohol actually breaks the adhesive on the wrap, and as you keep rubbing like this, it'll lift off. Now, I prefer, again, the coconut oil because the alcohol is very drying, and we are going to have to use alcohol to prep our nails for application anyway, but if you don't have any oil handy, the alcohol works just as well. Now that my nails are nice and clean, and I've taken all of my wraps off, it's important to wash your hands quite well and get them dried. We want to get all traces of that oil off of our fingernails, as if we don't do that, the Jamberries aren't going to stick. Few tools that come in really handy as you're prepping. As mentioned, those little alcohol swabs. You're going to want a cuticle pusher. You can get these at the dollar store, you can get these at any drugstore. an orange stick that would have come with your kit, or you can ask your Jamberry rep for some if you can't find them. Again, Walmart, Target, any drugstore, you can find those. A nail clipper, of course, a soft rubbery cuticle pusher to help get that seal on your Jamberry wraps, tweezers, tiny scissors, cotton balls, cotton pads that you use for the alcohol or the acetone, and I'll explain the acetone in a minute, and of course a heater. Now Jamberry does sell the heaters. They're about $22.50 each plus your taxes. They work fantastic. They're super convenient, but if you don't want to buy the heater, you don't have to worry. A hairdryer works just as well. So does a clothes iron. I bought this iron here at Michael's for about $36, but I had the 40% off coupon, so wait for that sale. The heat guns work really, really well, but they do get extremely hot, so I don't suggest letting children use them, and give it a few tries on your own before you test it on a client so that you don't burn anybody. So the first thing you're going to do is pick out your Jamberry wraps. I'm assuming that you've already had those done. Here's what a wrap looks like. You'll see that it's not quite full because I have already applied a full set using this wrap, so you'll see how many stickers are left. Each full set, each wrap is good for 3 to 4 full applications quite easily. Now you'll see the wraps are all on a clear base, so that allows you to hold it up to your nail and choose whichever size is easiest for you. Once you have that done, you're going to cut it out, and I'm lucky that a lot of the wraps seem to fit my nails quite perfectly. So I'm going to prep my nail first. I always start with the pinky, but the choice is always completely yours. I'm going to use my cuticle pusher, and I'm going to get those cuticles back. Now I don't ever suggest that you push them back so much that they actually bleed. You just want them to be pushed off the surface of the nail, because a Jamberry wrap, while it might stick at first, it won't stay stuck to skin, and cuticles are skin. So if you want that wrap to last and not lift around the edges, you need to push those cuticles back. I'm lucky that my cuticles aren't too bad, but you might run into some people or some customers that have cuticles that may not have been pushed back anytime recently, and they might need a little bit of work. If they seem extra dry, don't be afraid to use a little bit of oil on them first. Soften them up. If you have cuticle remover, even better. So once those cuticles have been pushed back, of course you have to prep the surface of the nail. Now Jamberry wraps are made of vinyl. They're not stickers, they're not made of nail polish, they are vinyl. And I tell people, you know, you see those cars driving around and they have advertising on them. They look like it's kind of like a neat paint job, but it's actually a wrap. So this is kind of the same idea. They're heat activated and pressure activated vinyl wraps for your nails. So much like cars that you see with advertising on them, think of Jamberry nails as advertising for your hands. I certainly use them as advertising. I get more people asking about how they can purchase Jamberry just by them noticing my nails than me actually telling them about it myself. So I'm going to use the alcohol swab. Jamberry does sell the nail prep wipes, but again, if you're looking for some cost savings, dollar store alcohol swabs, or buy the big bottle of alcohol and a cotton swab, and make sure you rub the surface of your nail really good. Get into those corners, because that's where the oils tend to hang out. Now again, the Jamberry wraps will still stick, they just won't stick for long if you have oil on the surface of your nail. So once that surface has been prepped and you've chosen the wrap of your choice and you've cut it just a little bit longer than what your nail normally is, you're going to use an orange stick to take it off of the plastic backing. Now make sure, no matter what, that nothing other than the orange stick or the tool you're using, if you're using tweezers, touches that wrap. So once you have it on the stick, you'll see here, make sure again, don't touch the sticky side. Get that heater or the dryer going, and when you put it in front of the heat, you're going to notice that the wrap that's kind of floppy. That means the adhesive is now activated and it's ready to stick to your nail. So again, not wanting to touch anything with my skin because my skin has oils in it. And you can never really swab it with alcohol too much, but you want to make sure it's dry before you stick that Jamberry wrap on. And I have a little piece of a cuticle that's stuck there. Okay, so now we're ready. Nail bed's dry, wrap is still floppy, so I'm going to stick it as close to the cuticle bed as I can, making sure I don't actually put it on skin. And sometimes it can get a little tricky, but after a couple of applications, you're going to see how awesome you get at this. My first application, it looked good, didn't last long, because I didn't bother to read the instructions. So once you have it pressed onto your nail, you're going to press down at the cuticle bed, push up, and then curl around to the sides. And you're going to keep rubbing down on that wrap. What I suggest doing is giving it a little blast of heat as often as you possibly can, because the heat makes it extra sticky. Use that soft cuticle pusher. It's a rubbery one. Again, you can get these at any dollar store or any Walmart. And push all over the entire surface of that wrap, pushing down hard into your nail. It won't hurt, but if you're doing this or if you're helping somebody else to do this, it's best if you just show them how to apply it and then have it do them themselves. That way you avoid burning them or cutting them or hurting them or having them not really learn how to do it themselves. So you'll see that it's now stuck to my nail, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what that looks like, and I'm going to leave it zoomed in while I talk so that you can actually see a little bit better than from looking so far away. So these wraps are called purple ombre. So you see how they have the darker purple closer to the cuticle bed, and they get white as they go out towards the end. Now I've got a lot of excess here, so I'm just going to trim it off like this, and I'm going to give it a little blast of heat. And what that heat's going to do is allow me to just push down and play with it a little bit more and get it really, really stuck to my nail bed. And so I'm going to start to curl it around the tip, and that way I can file off the excess. Now it's kind of hard to see a little bit. I know that it might be a little bit blurry, so let me see if I can clear it up for you. So there we see how it's curled a little bit around the end of my nail. So the heat activated the adhesive and it is wrapped to my nail. But there is that excess, which looks kind of gross. So the way to get rid of the excess, you can clip it off, but the easiest, fastest way to remove it is to take a nail file and make sure you only file down in one direction. So straight down at a 90-degree angle, or as close to a 90 degree as you can. And here comes the excess, and it'll all be gone. I will just clear off some of the tips like this. And don't know if you can see there. Let me see if I can zoom that even more for you. And there we have one done. So once you get good at these, you'll be able to do a full set, both hands actually, in about 20 minutes. First time you do it, it'll probably take about 45, but there is a learning curve. Like I said, preparation is key. So I've got that applied now to my nail. What I have found, this will be good, and they'll stay on for anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks. Probably a good week before you see any of the corners lift up. But I found a neat little trick. This little tool here, it's actually called a pick and shovel. I bought this one at a drugstore. You can pick them up almost anywhere. They're about 10 bucks. And what I've found is sealing the edges of your wrap is what's going to make it super stick. So I heat up the shovel, and make sure you test it on your skin to make sure it's not too hot. And then I will press the shovel onto the nail like this, paying special attention to those edges. So if the metal of the shovel is hot, you're going to push down. It's not the surface, the middle of the nail so much, but those edges, you want to really seal the edges. Now if you don't have a shovel like this, tweezers work well, scissors work well, any metal object really that you can heat up. Don't make it too hot because the vinyl will actually melt. But press around those edges, and then again like this on the tip. So that wrap is going to last until I'm sick of it. They last up to 2 weeks on hands, up to between 6 to 8 weeks on your toes. But what I have found, and what all of my customers have found, is you're going to want to change your Jamberry wraps before you actually have to. And there we go, I'm back. It's been about 6 or 7 minutes since I left you, so I was able to do these actually pretty quick. I called these purple ombres before. They're actually orchid ombres, and they're really nice to apply. The vinyl seems to be thinner than some of the other wraps. I'm not sure why, but it makes application super easy. Now if my cuticles look greasy, it's because I've just finished moisturizing them. Jamberry sells a cuticle oil, and we also have a cuticle balm. Now the cuticle oil, again, you can use any oil: coconut oil, almond oil, olive oil, avocado oil. They all work beautifully. When you have a wrap on your nail, the wraps are non-porous, so they're watertight, so there's no moisture being absorbed through the surface of your nail to keep them nice and healthy. That's why we suggest putting oil on the cuticles every time you think about it, really, at least once a day, and that keeps everything nice and healthy. So I put oil under under the nail there and around the edges, and it keeps everything happy and healthy. Now, some of the advantages to our Jamberry wraps, they're gluten-free, so if you know anybody who's got a gluten allergy or is suffering from celiac disease, Jamberries are a lot of fun and they're completely safe. They're great for kids, they're great for babies, and they're great for pets. They are completely non-toxic. They are completely latex-free, so if you happen to work in the medical field, this is a bonus for you because they're also non-porous. They're safe to wear if you happen to be a nurse or, again, working in the medical field. Hand sanitizer isn't going to lift them. There's no chemicals in them, and they're made in the USA. So they're safe, they're fun, they're affordable, they're easy to apply, they're fantastic for mums and daughters for an evening in, make you feel really special. And one sheet, as I mentioned, one sheet is good for 3 to 4 full applications at least. And you can mix and match them. Of course, we have over 300 designs to choose from, and you're going to see my website right down here. You can click on that and you can have a peek at some of the wraps, or you can leave me a message in the video and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you do have. I hope you're able to learn a little bit, and I do hope you get to try Jamberry soon, and I hope even more that you get to love them as much as I do. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.